Chapter 61. The Bunker 1. Chapter 61. The Bunker 1. Damien's Pav. I am a monster for excusing myself at the deaths I should have saved. Damien Stark. The lights flicker once, twice, and then die, plunging us back into darkness. I sit among the others, illuminated only by the failing glow of broken ceiling tubes, some hanging at odd angles, others completely dead. Dust drifts downward like motes in a stale shaft of light, settling on my skin, making my eyes itch. Time has passed. I have no idea whether it's been over a day or merely the last dozen hours. My body is curled tight, knees to chest, armpit pressed against shin. I am too tired to uncoil. Around me, murmurs ripple through shadows, distressing and unintelligible. I crouch, isolated by near deafness, an echoing hush as if I'm diving through murky water. My goggles gone, vision blurred, I can see the outlines of 10 others who were too close to the blast, their faces gaunt in the half-light. Flicker, dark, flicker, dark. Sometimes I drift across the wide corridor of the bunker like a ghost, but no one recognizes me as a doctor. Those I had helped before are gone, either carried away to other tunnels or already dead. Down here, at least a dozen meters below Earth, none of us were severely wounded. I was caught just off the path, in a subchamber between the tunnel and this bunker. If it weren't for that sky plate falling, we never would have made it here in time. It shattered my hearing, but spared my life. Ears don't matter much compared to survival. Still, all the injured lie above now, beneath the stone, buried or lost. Some may have reached other bunkers near the lake, but most didn't make it. I stand, more a lift than a move, and remain rooted beside a silent stranger. My face drains of what relief I felt at surviving. Survival itself feels shallow now, insufficient. I stare at the flickering lights, artificial, cruel, mimicking a world that once boasted an eternal yellow sun. They pulse weakly, mocking the sun that existed for billions of years, before the apocalypse. Reality distorts between light and void, and I have no clue what to feel. The plate saved me, yes, but it also collapsed the only exit. We number at least 100 souls. Maybe more. I can't recall how much food is left, or water. Soon oxygen will dwindle. Soon we'll suffocate. Soon we'll rot in this earthen tomb. I place my hand over my wrist, feeling pulse thrum behind my ribs. Thoughts swim, but I push them away. I want to cherish this moment, surviving near death, but guilt claws at me. I see him, the old man from before. I killed his hope by not pulling him in time. I was the last through the door. I made it. 1 second more and my body would have been flattened with the others. He's gone, but his pleading hand haunts me. My gaze drifts from the dead strip of flickering light to the stone floor and back to the corpseless void. Should I sleep? Maybe it would be merciful to drift off unaware, to avoid the reality of being eaten limb by limb outside, as the military failed to save them. Or crushed by falling sky fragments. But I can't sleep, not after what I did, and what I must still do. I cannot let that be my undoing. The old man, wherever he is, maybe in some afterlife, whatever he's waiting for, I still owe him something. I have to do more than waste my remaining time here. My family flickers into my mind, my anchor in this ghostly underworld. My father, strong though twice my age, even he would die protecting my mother and Lena. I ache with longing, I ache with fear. Saliva drips from the corner of my mouth, and I suddenly see it, a bitter, angry smirk curling the edge of my lips. I miss them more than my own breath. But worse than the distance is the vulnerability. I fear something will happen to them. I couldn't even protect a stranger in mud. I swallow thickly, tasting grit and regret. I imagine my sister, bored and restless, kicking my leg during a family show. I think of my mother fussing over the dinner table, rearranging plates, reminding me to help. And my father, eyes glued to some fishing documentary I never understood, and frankly never cared about. I should have cared more. Chapter 62. The Bunker 2. Chapter 62. The Bunker 2. Another flicker of light, sudden darkness, then back again the light. My eyes burn at the shift. I step forward, merging with restless forms, silhouettes pulsing in the intermittent glow. I massage my temples, trying to quell the hole drifting inside my skull, throbbing in rhythm with the flickering lights. I vomit again, my second time since the collapse. My stomach grinds sour. The rest of the time I've spent in a corner, silent and separated. I don't know anyone here except a handful I observed in passing through the tents. No familiar faces, no colleagues, no soldiers I'd met. The rest died under the plate or fell to monsters outside. Maybe a few escaped to the lakeside bunker, but I doubt it. I trudge through the darkness, stoic and hollow. I feel nothing, no sorrow, no anger, just emptiness. Then I see them. First, a soldier, a big one, standing rigid. His armor stained green. It marks him as one of the high-blooded. Extra strength, extra danger. But armor slows even them. He's holding a massive rifle, shoulders broad as a wall. He looks down at me with narrowing eyes. What is it? His voice is low, sharp. I see steel gray in those flickering blue eyes. Behind him, a woman steps into the light. Blonde like him, hair caught in messy waves. She's about my height, 1.80. Slender, Quick, no rifle, but twin daggers on her belt gleam ominously. Frank, don't always scare them, she scolds. She smacks his shoulder, big enough to sting. Goddamn it, hold your gun low. Frank grunts, but, not my fault if something happens and I'm too slow. She sighs, so what is it? They approach me, I lick parched lips, light pulses again, then goes. I inhale tight to speak. Boom. I hear a sound as loud as the metal plate slamming shut, so sudden it punches the air from my lungs. The flickering lights overhead sputter once, then die entirely. I turn too fast, stumble over my feet, catching myself on my palms. Darkness, and then, light. A blue glow pours in from above like strands of silk unraveling from the ceiling. It seems distant at first, dozens of meters away, right at the spot where that massive metal plate blasted apart our only entrance and exit. The hole pulses and grows. Stones fall with the speed of bullets, whistling through the bunker. They rip through anyone beneath them in the blink of an eye. I see men and women torn open, blood blooming in grotesque patterns on the floor. The blue light intensifies, flooding a quarter of the room as the hole widens even further, until something moves in it. A hand. Massive, orange in color, like rusted metal or molten clay. I go pale, and I see the same shock reflected in the others. My gaze flickers to Frank, broad-shouldered, breathing hard, and the young woman near him, her eyes wide. I squint at them as I scramble backwards, my knees and palms scraping against the rough floor. Get away, a voice shrieks from somewhere behind them. I turn and spot her, a woman pressing her shaking, blood-soaked hands onto the gut of a man lying beside her. Both look too damn young. His blood is everywhere, darkening the white strips of cloth she's trying to knot over the wound. She sobs. The sound makes my stomach twist. I keep crawling back, trying to make distance between myself and that orange limb reaching in from above. Frank and the girl grow smaller in my view. Other soldiers storm past me, rifles up, eyes hard. Pow, pow, pow. Gunshots roar in the confined space, deafening, so many at once that it's impossible to tell where they're coming from. And in the midst of this chaos, I see it emerge fully. The orange creature, orc-like in stature but worse, unnatural, its flesh pulsing, breathing almost. It looms over the girl. We stand far away, in the darkness, unable or unwilling to close the distance. Their bullets strike it, but most shots miss or glance off harmlessly. The few that hit merely spark or bounce, leaving it unbothered. It doesn't even flinch. It walks instead, slowly, deliberately, toward the sobbing woman. She doesn't run, she can't, she shakes so hard her teeth chatter, clutching the shredded man beneath her as though she could hold him together. Blood pools under them, made alien by the cold blue light. All around them, others lie bleeding or perfectly still. Some are dead, some are too shocked to move. Me. I keep crawling like an insect, hating every second of it. I'm on my back, legs kicking for purchase, palms scraping the ground. I want to scream at myself to stand up. Doctor, I sneer in my head. Coward. But my body moves on instinct. I need cover, I need safety. Finally I roll, force my legs under me, and stagger upright. My eyes are fixed on the horror ahead, unable to look away. I see the girl's upper body jerk violently. Her torso blossoms open in a spray of organs and blood. It hits the walls with a sickening slap, paints the ground in shades of red that look almost violet under the harsh blue light. My stomach clenches. Other hands follow through the ceiling breach, clawing their way in. Green hands, blue hands, each one inhuman, flexing with obscene purpose. The gunfire dies, clicks of empty magazines echo. Soldiers lower their weapons, defeated. Except Frank, and one girl beside him. Chapter 63, The Bunker 3. Chapter 63, The Bunker 3. I'm still looking for somewhere to hide, my heart thundering in my chest so loud I'm sure they can all hear it. Do not speak in the tongue of our gods. The orange creature's voice rattles the walls. It's not just loud, it's heavy, pressing into your bones. If Frank is big to me, this thing is an elephant to me. Even more than that. I see Frank move, he shouts something I can't hear over the ringing in my ears. Then he storms forward. My first thought, he knows he's going to die. But he does it anyway. Why? Bitter anger coils in my gut. Fool, I think, hero, idiot. The woman behind him follows, close enough that her outline seems to merge with his. For a moment, they're both cast in that hellish blue light, two black silhouettes to the rest of us skulking in the dark. I see more of them behind the creature now. Faceless things, beings that look human from afar, but wrong up close. Their skin is pale and stretched, mouths cracked open, some lined with jagged teeth, others empty pits. Maggots writhe from the holes in their faces and wounds, crawling out lazily as if they have all the time in the world. Some of these monsters are blue-skinned but not zombies, standing straighter, cleaner somehow, like minders among livestock. Frank charges. He slows deliberately, planting himself wide. He stops a meter away. The orange thing doesn't move. It waits. Its head tilts, as though it's thinking. It's smart, I realize with a cold, clinical dread. But I see their plan. The woman behind Frank is crouched low, her body in his shadow. She's hidden from the creature's view, her dagger in hand. And then it happens. The orange giant swings. Slow, almost lazy. It's nothing like the earlier brutal dismemberment. Its fist collides with Frank's chest. I hear bones snap. He flies backwards, smacking into the opposite wall like a ragdoll. And in the same instant, while that enormous arm is still swinging, the woman lunges. She rises from Frank's shadow like a phantom, slipping into the blue light. Her hair catches the glow, a gold halo around a face twisted in determination. She's cut her own palm. Blood drips down the hilt of the dagger she grips. She drives it into the creature's cheek. It sinks in deep. She wrenches it free, going for another strike, but the thing reacts. A monstrous fist blurs. I see her arm fly away, severed at the shoulder. She doesn't scream right away. There's a stunned pause before the sound rips free. She curls on the ground, gasping, a keening wail leaving her throat. Blood fountains from the stump, painting everything red. Interesting. The orange creature laughs. The sound is wrong. It vibrates in my ribs, rattles my teeth. Diago, heal her. She lies in a ball on the floor, shuddering, holding the stump against her chest. One of the faceless steps forward. It smiles, too wide, lips cracking, splitting. Yes, my lord. He raises his forearm and cuts it open without hesitation. His blood runs in thick, dark rivulets. He grabs her chin with cracked fingers and forces it open. She gags and chokes as he pours his blood into her mouth. I fight the urge to vomit all the time. The orange creature watches impassively. Now, take every single one of them. I want to see them in the arena or as food for the Browns. The faceless turn in unison. Their boots thud against the stone. Some wear ragged, bloody formal suits, like office clerks resurrected from the grave, dead eyes shining with obedience. I freeze. I feel cold as the snow I haven't seen in years. And then, one of them turns. Its eyes lock onto mine. Empty sockets, but I feel them. It smiles widely. Chapter 64, A Decade of Absence 1. Chapter 64, A Decade of Absence 1. Ericsson's POV. I am a shattered soul, trying to fix myself with bodies, which cannot hold its splinters. Ericsson Leonard. I hold her small hand in mine as if that act alone could make me a better man. She is not my daughter. She will never be her. It's only now that I finally accept it. Her red lips are nothing like the ones my wife passed down to our child. No birthmark on her neck to echo the one I bore as a boy. Her hair will never catch the light in that same autumnal blaze, never burn with that particular hue. Her eyes will never hold the same unguarded joy. Maybe, before all of this, she had something like it, her own family, her own warmth. I squeeze her hand gently, walking beside her, while my other hand trembles like a coward's. I hate myself for it. A monster. That's what I am. I tell myself I saved her, over and over, the words like paste in my mouth. My chest is tight, heart drumming too fast. No, I'm not a savior. I'm a butcher in nicer clothes. When I look at her, she smiles at me with a warmth I have not earned. We barely speak, just enough to keep moving, enough to keep eating, drinking, sleeping. The past 12 days on the train have blurred into something like a week, time stretching and snapping in unfamiliar places. It reminds me of the gap between my world and hers, how little we share, how absurd it is that I even tried to pretend. She points into the distance, voice small and clear. Ice cream. I almost laugh. A smile dares to show itself before I kill it. I am not allowed happiness. I'm too selfish, too ruined for that. She should have someone, anyone, else. Someone who deserves her trust. We never talk about her family. Once or twice, maybe, some half-finished sentences about food or sleep. Never the real things, and yet now she's comfortable, more at ease than I ever thought she'd be with me. I don't understand it. I close my eyes against the sun, its glow crawling over the horizon in slow, dignified ruin. I haven't earned this light, but I let it warm my face anyway. She tugs on my hand and nearly pulls me over, giggling, her small fingers impossibly sure in mine. What a child can do to a man, I think. What armies can't. Stop it. But the smirk won't leave my face. She pulls me onward, her world for once dictating mine. I wanted to bring her somewhere safe. That was the plan. Instead she's leading me through the streets. I glance at the brand on her neck, the one where my daughter would have had a birthmark. And still I smile. It's all wrong, but I can't stop. She isn't my daughter. I know that now. Time has taught me in the most brutal ways. But maybe I can rest for a moment. Sleep for a day or two. Let the century-long grief wait for me like it always does. I could close my eyes without seeing the man I'm hunting, without feeling my wife's blood on my hands. I don't deserve that peace, but I crave it. We keep walking. Somehow she's on my shoulders now. It's ridiculous how quickly she grew comfortable with it. At first she refused to come along at all, stiff and scared. Now she's humming to herself, tiny hands tangled in my hair. My right hand steadies her ankle, firm but gentle, as if that could keep all the horrors of the world at bay. My trembling is gone. That's another absurd thing. Normally the shakes only get worse. War ruined me, half my life spent in it, a third of it wading through mud caked with blood. I fought at the fall of Empire Delora, watched it fracture into the new kingdoms of Elytra and Avaloria, their riches torn apart. Elytra, the kingdom of wars and smoky industry. Avaloria, with its green fields, medicinal herbs, and the endless patience of farmers. I have bled on their soil, taken lives for their borders. Now, I don't feel that hunger for violence. It unnerves me, makes me feel like I'm out of place in my own body. I'm just a man carrying a girl on his shoulders. Chapter 65, A Decade of Absence 2. Chapter 65, A Decade of Absence 2. We move through the city, streets narrowing as the fog thickens around us, morning creeping in quiet, cyan light. The houses are tall, packed close like conspirators, their rooftops meeting the sky in uneven silhouettes. The color isn't quite right here, less vibrant than it would be somewhere else. She shifts, trying to see something ahead, and I throw her a little higher to adjust my grip. That's when I feel it. Something cold smacks against my head and begins to slide down my temple in a sticky, humiliating mess. "I sorry," she mumbles, voice tiny. I hear the real meaning anyway. She's not sorry for me. She's sorry for the ice cream, now in ruins on the cobblestones. "Your ice cream, huh?" I mutter. She's still perched on my shoulders like she belongs there. I'm wearing a different face again today. I always change my appearance. Now I look like them, one of the stoic blue-blooded. Long blonde hair falling to my shoulders, a nobleman's severe expression carved onto my face. My eyes match their cold-blooded heritage. I hate this mask. I hate how it lets them see me as one of their own while she, with her brand, is marked as mine. As property. I see the way they look at us. The sneers half hidden behind polite disgust. The glances that linger on her neck. I want to snarl at them all, but I can't. Too many witnesses. I carefully lift her off my shoulders and set her down. She's quiet, but I see the sulk in her eyes. Maybe it's the lost ice cream. She takes a few steps ahead of me and then stops. Waits, turns around, holds out her hand. I don't fight it anymore. Let them see. Let them gossip in their parlors. Let them bring their enforcers, their orange-blooded hunters to track me down. If she can't even walk these last few minutes without my hand in hers, then they'll have to pry her from my corpse. I take her hand. And I let myself smile without hiding it. I feel my nervousness fall away like a discarded coat. The world sharpens, my thoughts clear, no suspicion clouds me now. I look up at the sky, a cold, vast blue. Birds wheel in the distance, black dots against the pale expanse. Then my gaze drifts to her. She's so small, half my height, maybe less. I know I shouldn't ask, but the words claw at my throat until they break free. What about family? It comes out too fast. My chest tightens. I'm out of breath, like I've run miles. The words feel heavy enough to drag me under. I nearly choke on the last syllable, but I force myself to continue. Father, or a mother. She turns to me, those bright amber eyes catching the light like flame behind glass. Her hair is a burnt sienna curtain falling across her shoulder. I never had a father. And, her voice cracks, softer than usual. The voice of a child who's too tired to lie. My mother is gone. I don't ask for more. I shouldn't have asked at all. But then she does something that slices me open. She smiles. No tears fall, but I see the grief clinging to her gaze, clinging like mine once did to my own daughter. But she isn't my daughter. She belongs to someone else. I have no right to think otherwise. No right to that selfishness. My hand tightens over hers, grounding me. I look away, watching the road transform beneath our feet. The rough, pitted asphalt evens out, becomes smoother, broader. We reach an intersection. I hear carriages rattle, horses snorting and stamping, hooves striking sparks. She gawks at them, mouth open. She's always like this around anything new. But she's not staring at the carriage, or the well-dressed passers-by who look like they've stepped out of a different world than hers. She's looking across the street at the house in front of us. It's not large or tall, not compared to the grand facades of Monum Street. But it stands apart. It's golden. Not true gold. The blue sunlight glints off the false sheen, revealing the cheap alchemy of its finish. Any real estate seller knows the trick. But she doesn't see the trick. She sees the glow. Hope. I draw in a breath. We're here, and your new home, I tell her. Chapter 66, A Decade of Absence 3. Chapter 66, A Decade of Absence 3. I open the door. The gold-painted surface throws the light back so harshly that we both flinch, half-blinded. A man stands just inside. He's imposing, broad-shouldered, with a bald head gleaming with sweat. His nose is thick, but almost absurdly small compared to his skull, like some sculptor ran out of clay halfway through. I let my gaze drift past him, scanning the interior. It's simple, tasteful in the way the upper class likes to pretend is humble. The floor is polished wood. The walls are freshly painted. But I know the truth. The interesting part is beneath us. The hidden rooms, the underground no one talks about. I incline my head slightly. New, I ask, my voice casual but cold. He grunts, squinting at me. And who are you? A customer? No, I want to say, but I bite that back and let a smirk twitch my mouth. Well, you could say that. He tilts his head back a little, trying to make himself look taller. It's pathetic. Behind him, I see two men and a woman lounging on a worn couch, cups of steaming porcelain in their hands. Tea, always tea, the safe drink of cowards and schemers alike. I breathe out slowly, my arm shifts, adjusting her weight on my hip. She clings to me like I'm the last piece of solid ground in a rising flood. I want her safe, I say. Each word is deliberate, heavy, at all costs. My eyes catch on a book tucked in the corner shelf among 100 others. A lie of civility. The man in front of me snorts, loud enough that the tea drinkers glance over. She's a red, he says. He doesn't even try to keep his voice down. And, I ask evenly. His mouth curves in a sneer. You want to tell me, a noble, is caring for a slave? He says it like it's a joke. Like it's absurd. The others put their tea down, watching now. I am, I say. He studies me, eyes narrowing. I feel the girl's grip tighten so hard it hurts. She feels their gazes crawling over her like roaches. You're making her uncomfortable, I say. Tell them to look elsewhere. His eyes lock onto mine, and I see the green glow hidden in their depths. Like mine. Or what? He breathes. My fist snaps out, not hard, I don't even put weight into it, but it still sends him sprawling like a sack of wheat, crashing into the wall. The others leap up, one of the teacups shatters on the floor, splattering the low table with brown stain. They look at me, at her. She trembles. Don't, I say softly, pulling her behind me. But they don't listen. They charge. Their steps pound the floor like war drums. I don't move. I don't need to move. I could break them without stepping forward. I could dishonor them all with nothing but the weight of my presence and a flick of my wrist. But then the door bursts open behind them. No bell. This place has no need for polite warnings. Everyone freezes. One woman stands just inside the threshold, glaring at me from 3 feet away. Another man halts around 5 feet back, arm half raised in threat. The rest stumble to a stop, too slow. What in Apollo's name happened here? The voice hits me like a memory dug up from a grave. 2 hours, he growls. 2 hours I'm away, and you idiots start trouble. He's broad-shouldered, built like a warhorse that learned to talk. His gaze sweeps the room like a blade, cutting through excuses before they form. Then his eyes land on me. You'll get your wages cut next mission, he says, voice iron. The men who attacked me go pale. Their posture sags, they drop the tension like broken puppets. His gaze turns back to me, evaluating. You, customer. He says it like a challenge. I raise my fist to my left chest and strike it 3 times. On the last, I flatten my palm against my heart. His eyes ignite. Flames. Recognition. It takes a breath, too. Then he steps forward and pulls me into a rough embrace. He leaves the others frozen, blinking at the sudden intimacy. 3 faces I don't know. 2 I know too well. And 2 more I remember with grim clarity. There's Grim, the scar-faced bastard with his twitching smile. Vis, tall and thin as a dying tree. Dellen, the other brute. And one whose name slips through my fingers like water. And 2 new ones, Blues. But none of them matter now. Because Harmon is here. He claps my shoulder so hard it rattles my bones. Long time, Eric, he never says my name right. I breathe in his scent of sweat and old leather. Long time, I manage. Chapter 67, Others Like Me 1. Chapter 67, Others Like Me 1. Ashton's Pav. It was not my mother, my father, nor my siblings who cared for me when I scraped myself on thorns as a boy, but a red girl, executed the very next day. Aston von Rosenmall. Arthur and I walk side by side through the streets, the rather slim greens and broad oranges in bright contrasts that clash almost violently in my eyes. Arthur resembles his family about as much as a human resembles an ape, same species, but the shared dignity stops there. We Blues are taught from childhood not to question our reason for existing, but for days now I've been steeped in studying them. The Reds, their culture, their ways, who they were before we stripped them of everything. I want to know them. I want to understand. Arthur's hair is blonde like mine, his eyes the same piercing azure. But there the likeness ends. He lacks the elders, beard of shimmering sand. Still, even in this thick, bluish fog, his eyes glimmer with a knife's edge sharpness. His brow is furrowed even though his body remains relaxed, as if the tension is ornamental, something he wears with the same care he would a military sash. He isn't older than me, perhaps a decade at most, but when I'm forced to stand beside him, I feel dwarfed. He stands tall. I imitate him, chin up, posture stoic, exactly as all Blues are taught, whether by family or in those damned middle-class academies that pass for schools. But I'm not like him. Not truly. I can't be like him. I don't want to impose. Don't want to wear the lie that I'm proud of what I am. My gaze follows his, my mouth parting slightly in instinctive surprise before I snap it shut. I force myself still, stiff as a candle. We stand in the middle of the road, a carriage in the hazy distance. The ground here is dry, no Denkland mud clinging to our boots. The clouds have been swept away, leaving only the pitiless sun overhead. How ironic. Helios, our so-called god of the sun, bestows this warmth upon us, as if he didn't forget us entirely in our making. I watch the wind ripple through grass, capturing the fleeting moment of what we so pretentiously call Mother Nature while I'm surrounded by the higher-blooded. What in Apollo's name happened here? The question breaks the silence. It's delivered in a thick northern accent, hard edges softened by age, but still near impenetrable. What in Apollo's name happened here? The leader repeats himself, voice low and slow but no clearer. Arthur doesn't move, neither do I. I try to take in the scene. At first I see a girl. Red, a slave, my brow knots to mirror Arthur's. Then I see him. A man of nobility, like me. Blonde hair, shoulder length, tied back. A trimmed beard I could wear myself if I didn't keep shaving it away in self-loathing. But it's what I feel, more than see, that hits me. My blood crawls in my veins, prickling in my fingertips. It's a disguise. He's faking the role of a noble. I see him clench his fist and beat his chest twice. Then once, flat palm over his heart. The veterans salute. I stand ramrod straight, concealing my shock. Only veterans of the Great Fall of Delora are allowed that sign. Anyone else is executed on the spot. Even royalty would swing for such a transgression. But no one around us seems to care. The orange-blooded leader just embraces him. Long time, Eric. Long time. I hear the disguised noble's voice, casual. Arthur's face stays carved from stone, but his eyes sharpen with understanding. Mine do the same. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, there's a grin on Arthur's face, gone as quickly as it appeared. Chapter 68. Others like me too. Chapter 68. Others like me too. And then I told her she should go wipe someone else's ass. Their laughter is ugly. I sit silent like a statue, while Arthur rests beside me, equally silent but infinitely more comfortable. I want to frown. I want to tell the scarred bastard to shut his crooked-toothed mouth. But he keeps talking, teeth bared in a grotesque parody of joy. Man, Erickson, long has it been. He claps him on the shoulder. The red girl stands close to the disguised noble, Erickson. I do frown now. He said that exact phrase 5 times already. I squint at Arthur, whose eyes meet mine like knives crossing. Shall we now begin with our actual plan? Arthur's voice is dry, deliberate, cutting through the forced camaraderie like a guillotine blade. It works. The room falls quiet. Greens, oranges, that lone red girl, all of them feel the change in the air. Earlier, I felt sick enough to crawl out of my own skin, retching in the back room of the filthy bar. They told me just enough about the missions they wanted me to finance. Enough to bait me with promises of formulas and rare blood, enough to make me play along for the access to ingredients only I could supply from my family's gardens. A waste of time. Arthur had already told me all of it before. And now I sit among them. Their eyes glint like predators spotting prey, and I'm the rabbit with my throat exposed. I know what they are. Veterans. Killers forged in the Empire's worst wars. Men and women who fought against yellow-blooded alliances and survived. Nobody even knows how so many of them escaped the Imperial frontlines and ended up here. Now they stand before me. Greens, oranges, but capable of so much more. I swallow my fear, trying not to show it, as silence settles like a thick, choking fog. Ah, yeah. Valea's voice breaks it, if I've heard her name correctly. She's the orange-haired woman, hair so dark it's nearly brown, though with that foul orange sheen at the roots. She looks at her boss, Harmon. Harmon. The one who embraced Erickson like a brother. My gaze fixes on Erickson himself. Our eyes meet. I swallow a mouthful of spit that feels like acid on my tongue. Yes, Harmon says, smirking. We were going to introduce ourselves once everyone was here. He pauses deliberately, not because he's out of breath, but because he wants to. But a few couldn't make it. After all, some cannot be seen with us at all. Their reasons will become clear to you soon enough. Everything comes with time, boy. He doesn't blink, doesn't look away. He wants me uncomfortable. But for now, what matters? His gaze pins me to my chair. What matters is that we are called the Order. My heart beats somewhat faster, my hands knitting the snow-white tablecloth. The name means nothing to most. Not to you, not to your family. There's no black market whisper, no underground code. Nobody except us. We work unseen, and for justice. His burning eyes flick to the little red girl beside Erickson. I notice the shattered teacup on the low table in front of me, untouched. My breath hitches under the weight of the moment. It makes sense. Discipline, the cold efficiency, the lethal silence. They're the ruling and military class. Even if their blood is in the social order in the lower classes, they are still green and orange. They are upper in Elysia, dangerous, trained, relentless. But then Harmon's words hit me with the force of a slap. We act for justice, and therefore against the injustice set upon the Reds. My heart stops. It feels like it circles my ribs before plunging deep into my gut. Reds. I force the word out on a shallow breath. Yes, Harmon says flatly, his eyes not blinking for a single moment. He just watches the girl with an expression that's, God's damn it, almost melancholic. I don't understand it. Yes, boy, he repeats, like he's spelling it out for a child. Everyone is watching me. Sunlight spills cold and pale through the windows, illuminating every set of unblinking eyes. We, the Order, have been working on a plan to rescue as many Reds as we can. I want to laugh. Instead, I look up at the ceiling, searching for a reflection of my own expression. I find nothing but blank, empty light. Chapter 69, Others Like Me 3. Chapter 69, Others Like Me 3. My gaze lowers in time to see one of them, the other blooded, cutting his palm open. The blood splashes onto the table in a sudden, savage gesture. I watch as green blood splatters across the table. The man behind it is tall, thin, and stooped like a withered reed. He raises his bloodied hand and begins to chant in the tongue of the golden, the language of the gods. We, children of the goddess of mirage, of the goddess of veil. Oya, we praise you. Let us, O Mother of Nature, wield the power that flows through us all, once through you, and now through me. He stops abruptly, breath ragged, pressing his hand to his chest. I hear his heart hammering, so loud it seems to match the shuddering in my own lungs. Blood drips between his fingers, green as new grass, soaking the front of what was once a pristine white shirt. He draws a cross over his heart, closes it with a circle. Over his chest, blood traces the crude shape of an eye without a pupil. I watch him, and for a moment I wonder if it's only my imagination that makes the wind coil around his form. But no, I see it. Oxygen thins in the room, the air swirling in distorted eddies, a maze that collapses and reforms around him. This is what I've always longed to see. The power in our blood. Its true origin. The origins of blood itself. The legacy of the gods. The golden ones, even though I despise them. I keep my gaze fixed on him. His hair is the same brown as everyone else here, though there are variations, a bit more amber here, more burnt sienna there. Only the noble in disguise, Arthur, and I are blonde. But I can't look away from the one performing the ritual, speaking the gods' tongue, his eyes gone entirely pupilless, shining with a deep emerald glow. I sacrifice my blood for your holy tears to fall upon us, for the sweat and hardship you gave us by making us mortal, to grant us the use of your powers. His fingers curl inward, closing over the blood. Everyone's eyes are on the green luminescence spilling between them. Most look unimpressed, only I, and the red-haired girl, stare in open wonder. But the instant Erickson squints in my direction, I force my expression to flatten. The tongue of the gods. I know it, I've learned it from a young age. However, without experience, a single slip can send your mind spiraling into madness. I exhale sharply, watching as the blood hovers midair, unnaturally suspended. It spreads, thins out, vibrates, and reshapes. It's there before me, clearer than any vision. Something the Reds might call a hologram, except it's made of blood, animated by power stolen from a true deity. I gasp. You can gain strength from consuming other blood, sure, you can even steal abilities that way. But you have to consume from other blood colors, other kinds. And with the prayer to the golden, you can ask for things you could never achieve by simple theft. But it has a price. I focus, analyzing the ritual despite the awe clawing at my chest. Harmon's voice cuts in as the image forms, a picture of trees inside a vast estate. I see it first from above, descending abruptly to treetop height. The blood's thin strands hang in the air, vibrating, generating a sound like rustling bushes. It's not perfect. Everything is in shifting hues of green, unpolished and raw, but the shapes are there. I can see them. I can even imagine touching the moving picture with my hand. Leaves flutter, flowers bloom in sped-up cycles. Then I see it, things only I would recognize. Ingredients, rare ones, growing only in the Rosengarten, the garden of my family's estate. Chapter 70. Others Like Me 4. Chapter 70. Others Like Me 4. I swallow, my throat dry. The green blood changes shape again, forming dim outlines of people in a room. There's a window, curtains drawn, obscuring their forms. The voices leak through, warped and underwater. Their Highness has agreed to Sebastian. They'll send a few thousand more over the next days, maybe more in the future. Those pigs can't rebel now. All hope they had is lost. There's a short, ugly laugh. The curtains part. I see her. A young woman with blonde hair, so much like my own. My mother. She leans on the sill, half naked. My father is there too, equally exposed, watching us through the window. Maybe a foot away in the blood-borne vision. Perhaps you should concentrate on the estate, she sighs, voice low, rather than these pigs. My father looks at us with grim eyes, his imposing hands closing the curtains. Hire more maids to make sure no birds defile our grounds, he says, and I feel my stomach twist. The blood pattern collapses, colors darkening to deep green with streaks of azure light. My jaw works soundlessly. If these higher-blooded claim to care for reds the way I care. But my thoughts are cut off as the picture twists again. Now it's waves, rolling, boiling, vast. Massive fish, whale-like creatures break the surface of green-lit water. One launches skyward in a shower of pale droplets. In the distance, a ship cuts through the murk, sails reduced to pale green shapes. Fog peels back, clouds churn. And I see them. Humans. Reds. Being butchered. Their bodies split lengthwise, bones snapped open, organs hauled free. They're eaten alive in crude, methodical bites. I lower my head, but I don't close my eyes. I watch. No one else does except the red-haired girl, her hands, knitting the shirt of Erickson. We all look the same. Skin, eyes, bones. Blood color is the only difference. And for that, we do this. Even now, I don't understand. I don't want to understand. But the answers are always the same. It's healthy. It's nutrient-rich. It will make you stronger. Or worse, the taste. Human meat is cheaper than animal stock. Easier to come by now. Said to be better than low-blooded meat. I feel bile rise in my throat as the bird's eye perspective shifts. The vision swoops from galleon to galleon, revealing the same horrors on each deck. Everywhere, at least one orange among the crew. And all the while, the others in the room turn to stare at me as the images fade. The man who performed the ritual, face ashen now that the blood is gone from his body, leans back on his heels. Aston. Harmon's voice is calm. He doesn't care how they found me out, how they know I side with the Reds. He just says my name like an accusation and a promise both. My knees start to bounce beneath the low table. I only now notice how low it really is, far lower than anything back home. Everyone sees my agitation. But Harmon smiles at me. Not a mockery, a genuine, warm smile. He watches my HSNDS, continuing to knot the carpet, then meets my eyes. We want you to know we're on your side. On her side. He nods toward the red-haired girl seated beside Erickson. We just want one thing. His gaze is steady. The others in the room are silent. Over half of them are strangers to me, the other half have faces I can barely stand to look at. I realize too late that I'm smiling, lips drawn tight, the faintest curve at the edges. The sight before me swims, blurs like it did when the green blood was hovering in the air. Except now it's my own eyes watering. But no tears escape. There are others like me.